Garamendi. He serves on the Armed Services and Transportation Infrastructure Committees. Congressman, a lot to go over, but let's start most notably with Iran. You know, we know Vice President J.D. Vance and Iranian officials, they're in Switzerland now. There's a debate whether the meetings have actually stopped this round of negotiations or they have continued. But the vice president did say this. Take a quick listen.
Peace always requires a little bit of work. It always requires a little bit of give and take. But the President of the United States is committed not just to peace between the United States and Iran. The President is committed to a regional peace, which is why we're here working so hard to settle our issues.
You know, just after those comments, President Trump posted another threat to Iran. We were talking about this a moment ago, saying that the country must stop their proxies from causing trouble in Lebanon or the U.S. is going to retaliate again, and also said that he would blow them up if Tehran closes the Strait of Hormuz. What do you make of this seemingly kind of good cop, bad cop situation that we're seeing between the president and the vice president right now?
I am absolutely confused as to what this is all about. I don't think, and the American public is. First of all, why in the world are we at war with Iran? Yes, Iran's a bunch of very, very bad actors, but suddenly we're plunged into a international war that's extraordinarily costly to the American public. Probably over $1 trillion of total cost to the American public over the next years, and well over $200 billion now. Gas prices are up at least $1 a gallon. For us and for the rest of the world, they also are suffering. Why? Why are we at war? We got to step back. The current situation, we're always focused on the here and now. But if we were to step back, we go, Mr. President, why did you do this to us? You didn't change the regime. It's still in place. You didn't get rid of the nuclear material. It's still there. You didn't get rid of the missiles. And in fact, you also said it's okay for Iran to have intercontinental ballistic missiles.
You know, certainly
the rest of the world has them. So what is going on here? We've got a president that is actually leading us into total chaos, and his three people that are negotiating, the vice president, no international experience at all. And then you have Lechnick and Kushner, who basically have been negotiating for themselves and their own bottom line. You go, this is absolutely absurd.
You know, certainly the messaging from the White House has been and seems to still be that this is an effort for long-term safety at the cost of what they call, you know, short-term economic pain. But I think to your point, we have seen a growing number of Republicans and certainly Democrats push back on this MOU and even where these negotiations are right now. That being said, we have seen Republicans like Georgia Representative Buddy Carter ringing a different tune just this morning on the Hill Sunday. Take a listen to what he said.
I don't know that we blinked at all. Let's don't think, you hear what the president's saying right now. He's indicating that, look, this is far from over. And I believe him when he says that. They should believe him too. Yeah. That it is far from over. And if they don't follow through on what this memorandum of understanding sets out for them, then there will be consequences.
Yeah, this is on the backs of a lot of pressure that some say the president has been under, given that economic pain you mentioned a moment ago that American people are feeling. What's your take here? Do you think the U.S., in fact, was the one to blink first?
Well, take a look at the MOU. $300 billion for Iran to reconstruct the damage that we inflicted on them, to be paid for by us and our allies, and the sanction relief that is also there. Iranian oil is flowing through the Straits of Hormuz, which they still are able to control, which they proved just yesterday. They can open and shut it at will. This is absolutely a crazy, terrible situation for the United States. Our military bases in the Middle East have been hit. We don't yet know what the cost of rebuilding those are. We have not been able to replenish our munitions that were used in the early part of this war, apparently to some effect, but we certainly didn't stop the Iranian military from being able to be a significant and dominating force in the Middle East. All of that for what? Why? Why did we go to war in the first place? Back this up. Go back to 110 days ago and you say, why are we even thinking about going to war with Iran? Yes, they're a terrible bunch. They are a very disruptive entity, and they do cause enormous disruption and death in the Middle East. And they're not going to stop. They're continuing to do that.
I think that actually kind of pivots me to this next topic I want to talk about, because I think that's a question, to your point, the American voters are going to answer in November. Let's talk about the primary elections, the impact that this war is probably going to have on that, especially, given that, or excuse me, the midterms election, but especially given that primaries are going to take place on Tuesday in several key states. You're talking Maryland, right here in New York, Utah, South Carolina, also one of them. What are your thoughts on the overall impact this war is going to have on these elections?
Well, it certainly is having an impact on the general public. The MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, are clearly mobilizing behind Trump. And Trump is able to put in place his supporters through the multiple primaries that we have seen. But what does that mean for the November election? That means that the Trump hardliners will be going up against Democrats in the November election who are looking at this thing from the point of view of their constituents, all of them, not only the MAGA group that'll be present in all of those primaries, but the broader public. As I've been trying to explain, the public doesn't get it. They don't understand. They do know the cost. They know the cost that gasoline has gone up. What, $1 a gallon, probably over $130 billion additional expense to the American public. And by the way, does the cost of living go down? No, it's going up. The cost of everything that is in America, energy cost, food cost, gasoline cost, and all of this has gone up. And that'll be an issue in the November election. And also health care. You take a look at the health care. Trump cut health care programs for about 20 million Americans at a cost of about $30 billion a year. The war itself is costing over $130 billion thus far, and that is the direct military cost. Could we have
really quickly, I'm so sorry,
to war and continued health care? Absolutely. These will be the issues in November.
100% agree with you there. I'm out of time, but I want to give you 30 seconds really quickly to respond to kind of a growing trend that we are seeing, even on the opposite side, on the Democratic Party. We're seeing Democratic socialists around the country kind of win their primaries, beating out, some of the more moderate Democrats. And there's some criticism that this is speaking to a broader concern within the Democratic Party. What's your response to that, and what do you think this trend is a manifestation of?
Well, we're seeing the Democratic Party coming back in full bloom. All parts of it. The more conservative Democrats are also winning. The moderate, middle Democrats are winning, such as myself. I had a very significant victory in the California primary, as did other moderate Democrats. Yes, there are clearly more progressive Democrats that are winning, maybe a half a dozen across the nation. Good. That gives the Democratic a full-throated voice on all of the potential issues that we have to deal with. Healthcare, energy, cost of living, all of those issues are going to be fully debated. And we'll see that debate both from the left side of the Democratic Party, the middle, as well as the conservative side. The Democratic Party is all together. And we're going to be out there in every possible way. Yes, Bernie continues to be a very important voice, but that is a voice of only part of the Democratic Party. The middle part of the Democratic Party, my part of the Democratic Party, has a much larger foundation than do the more progressive parts of the Democratic Party. And the Conservative Party is certainly equal to the more progressive parts. So, yes, we're a broad Democratic Party, and we're going to go into this November election taking on the Republicans, who seem to be all MAGA-based.
Well, we certainly know the next 48 hours is going to be major for many primaries, and then November, we'll see how voters respond. Really appreciate your time, your perspective. Happy Father's Day to you and your family. Congressman from California, John Garamendi, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so for